I want us to catch up on what's been happening this week and also see the reactions on social media. This is News on Socials. My name is Al, and I join these outsiders discussing US politics. Let's start with the biggest news this week: Joe Biden calling half of the nation a threat to democracy.
Much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. That the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
Yeah, they're a threat, says the guy with the blood red Nazi background and Marines standing behind him. It's a complete outrage that this is being sanctioned as a White House event. In other words, that this is the approved position of our government. It's totally immoral. And then the guy who encouraged riots in 2020 accused MAGA Republicans of somehow threatening the rule of law in the United States. Watch this.
MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They refuse to accept the results of a free election. And they're working right now, as I speak, in state after state, to give power to decide elections in America to partisans and cronies, empowering election deniers to undermine democracy itself. MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards. They promote authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence that are a threat to our personal rights, to the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country.
This is truly nuts and threatening to the future of the United States. It's hard to believe he just did that, but
His press secretary also doubled down, saying that anyone who does not agree with the majority is exhibiting an extreme way of thinking and must be treated as a threat. That's a little extreme. But the next day, when asked about this, here's what Joe Biden had to say.
Consider all Trump supporters to be a threat to the country.
You keep trying to make that case. I don't consider any Trump supporter to be a threat to the country. I do think anyone who calls for the use of violence, fails to condemn violence when it's used, refuses to acknowledge when an election has been won, insists upon changing the way in which the rules you count votes. That is a threat to democracy. Democracy. And everything we stand for rests on the platform of democracy.
Well, he's projecting. We know that MAGA Republicans condemn violence, they acknowledge elections that are won fair and square, and they oppose illegal changing of voting rules. And so all of these are characteristics of the other side, and we know that projection is in the playbook of Democrats. Let's check out this next story coming in from Colorado. A power company seized control of thermostats in people's homes during a heat wave. I'm surprised this company decided to do it by force. Because there's a similar story in California where residents were given a choice and you can imagine they said no. But imagine this happening to you in your state. That is third world stuff, folks. Let's move on to the next story. Attorney General sends a memo warning DOJ employees against talking to Congress. And the reason he's doing this is because there's been an influx of whistleblowers talking to Congress about the bias at the FBI, including past cases. And so Garland is trying to put an end to this. Here's what Jack Posobiec had to say about this. He says, the FBI can find some documents in a box at Mar-a-Lago, but they can't find a motive for the last shooter after 5 years. That tells you all you need to know about the FBI. Now, Kevin McCarthy posted this tweet saying that the Biden campaign, big tech, and bad actors at the FBI and the media have colluded on the Hunter Biden's shady businesses, and that the House GOP will be investigating to get to the bottom of this. Here's the best response from Tim Young. He says, well, let us know when you find anything substantive instead of merely investigating, because my gosh, The House GOP just never takes action. This is their big talk. Their big talk is saying, oh, we're going to do an investigation. Just give us power. Then they get in power and nothing happens. Speaking of power, I've heard people say that DeSantis should consider being VP. But here's how Floridians feel about this. Well, some Floridians at least. Here's Kurt Turt's opinion. Says, the last I want is for DeSantis to be Trump's VP. We need DeSantis here in Florida making this state bright red for the next 4 years. What do you think? Do you think a Trump-DeSantis card is a winning card? I tend to agree with the Floridians. I think he's needed there. Greg Abbott has been celebrated for shipping migrants to D.C., New York, and Chicago because those are sanctuary cities, right? But I came across this opinion from Rodney Howard-Browne. He says, Abbott is pretending to be against what's happening, but he's an integral part of it. When are people going to wake up to what this rhino clown is doing? Sorry, Texas. That's what he is, a stooge for the CCP. Rodney Howard-Browne continues to ask the question, why does Greg Abbott not send the migrants back to Mexico? And so that's how he concluded that Abbott is an integral part of the problem and not so much a solution. Speaking of solutions, California is struggling with their green energy solutions after unveiling a plan that they will be banning cars that run by gas by 2035. They had to ask their residents this week not to charge their cars to avoid further blackouts.
California is asking residents to cut down on EV charging to avoid blackouts. It's not funny, but it's almost a joke, isn't it? It comes just 1 week after the state announced plans to ban gas-powered car sales by the year 2035. Kelly O'Grady is in my old stomping ground of Santa Monica. You've been talking to residents, Kelly. What are they saying about the EV push?
Well, Ashley, many think that it's happening far too quickly. I mean, on top of the cost of an EV, range anxiety, now on the fact that you can't charge your vehicle if it gets hot out. Take a listen to how folks here feel about the mixed signals.
It's kind of scary. Like, what if you really need it? What if you really got to go somewhere and you got an emergency?
Sometimes you're on a business trip or whatever, you just cannot do without. You know, you have to go on and do your work.
We need better infrastructure to support the huge switch to EVs. We're not there yet. The grid can't support it.
And this potentially historic heat wave is posing a critical test for that overtaxed power grid. Temperatures are expected to be in the triple digits through next Tuesday. Officials are warning of potential rolling blackouts. Now, to address some of that vulnerability, the state has issued what's called a flex alert. So what that means is the grid operator is asking residents to voluntarily conserve energy from 4 to 9 p.m. Measures include keeping the thermostat at 78 or higher. And of course, the big one raising eyebrows is the request to avoid charging your EV. Social media users quickly pointed out the irony, including Minority Whip Steve Scalise, who tweeted, quote, "This is what Democrat control looks like, and they want it nationwide. What a joke." Now, that ban on the sale of gas-powered cars is not just a 2035 problem. 35% of all new sales must be electric by 2026. This year, the California Energy Commission predicting supply will fall short of demand by 1,700 megawatts, potentially 5,000 in a heat wave. But by 2025, that picture doesn't look much better, with an expected shortfall of 1,800 megawatts, leaving 1 to 2 million potentially without power, let alone able to charge their EVs. I mean, add on your electricity rate increases, and energy experts and residents here alike are worried that this heat wave is proof that the grid is simply too vulnerable to handle that influx of switching to EVs, and that the plan to transition both in a financially and operational feasible way just simply isn't there, Ashley.
All right, this brings us to the end of the first segment, but I want to end it off with a video that shows us a comparison between crowd sizes of Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
than anything else? You realize that? The point is, we ask so much of you. So much of you. I've not...
There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend, we will not break, we will not yield. We will never give in, we will never give up. We will never, ever, ever back down. As long as we are confident and united, the tyrants we are fighting do not stand even a chance, because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and God alone. My fellow citizens, this incredible journey we are on together has only just begun. And it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious American nation. So with the help of everyone here today and citizens all across our land, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you, Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Let's face it, we're living in the future. If you want a logo or a website, you can just get that online. But you don't always have the time for that, or you don't always get the customization that you want. Our sponsor for today's video, MediaFailure.com, provides media services such as logo designs, web designs, promo videos, and voiceovers. Check them out at MediaFailure.com.